Hey, it's a list. It's a major list. It's a top five of my favorite commentators list. It's my opinion. If you think Mauro Ronaldo is going to be in this list, something's wrong with you. There's something truly wrong with you, and I care about you sincerely. Hands behind my back. I mean, hands out of. Oh God. Okay, let's get through it. Let's get through it. So we have number five being an underrated commentator from like late 2006 to 2008, or I think early 2008. JBL was commentator for Friday Night SmackDown for like a majority of the calendar year. I think it was due to injury, or they thought that was a signature role because like a few years prior, he was WWE champion for the nearly the entire calendar year of 2004 after beating Eddie Guerrero at a kettlebell match back at Great American Bash. And then he comes around after his feud with John Cena, meshing around, winning the U.S. title. Then he comes around doing commentary. And he was, I can say it, he was a great commentator. Always an extra focus in the match. He always brought his own heelish logic, and it was super entertaining. Most of his alleged reactions and his back and forth with Michael Cole when it came to what's immoral, because he, of course, he is notable for his heelish tendencies back when he was WWE champion. It even showed how quotable it is. Might ignore his internet history. Other than that, entertaining. He brought a semblance of personality and some source of attitude, and you need that, especially in a color commentator set that can learn the moves, explain most of the holds, and of course display most of what's going on in the match. He was literally one of the more entertaining commentators, in my opinion. And who else got Maggle? Well, not Maggle. Maggle was never over. It's just something that people quote because the commentary was so terrible. But other than that, really entertaining commentator. Number two, I have, of course, I'm giving it to Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman had a short term commentary job. I think it was like early 2000 into 2001 until Survivor Series of that year. He comes around being the colored commentator, well, another play-by-play that matches around because it's easy to go back and forth in the invasion storyline when he was an important part of it, and he could just mesh convincingly. Like they had the best back and forths. Paul Heyman was indecisively intelligent, and whenever he's just speaking, he just gives you a listen. You barely have commentators like that. They'll be insatiably generic, like Saxton and Tom Phillips, and Michael Cole, that just don't display their own semblance of character. He was like a Heenan, except fatter, and he really just had my favorite back and forth when it comes to commentators. With Jim Ross back in like the Invasions, I watched it back like in the network, and it's like I can see why people like this so much. He's so captivating to listen to, and he just had so many nice quotable lines like over the rattlesnake and does it make sense for the rattle. It was a great line he did back at Mania 17, and I liked it. Number three is Booker T. It's a suck. It's Booker T. Booker T deserves to be on a favorites list when it comes to commentary. He's not only a good teacher in the wrestling ring, he's a good podcaster, he's a great wrestler, and he's also a great commentator. Shucky Ducky is Shucky Ducky was over. His explicit reactions, his great quotes, always fun to have a conversation with. He keeps the concentration on the match and over his mind. It's just really funny. Really funny. He deserves to be on my list. I love you, Booker T. it's sad to know that he doesn't have a second coming. I would like a second coming comeback for Booker T. I don't care where he goes. Probably Impact because they need it. uh, they tried back in 2011 when they put him in that forgettable feud with Cody for no apparent reason. Other than that, I wish he had more. I mean, he could have been a good manager for like majority of some of the younger wrestlers that obviously don't have a semblance of character. Could have had some backstage centerpieces to make, or at least try to make him like an authority figure, like he did for SmackDown, like 2011 to 2012. I think it was until 2013. But yeah, Booker number two. Well, kind of. It's Jerry. It's Jerry the King Lawler. I mean, who else except the King of Memphis to take over the spot? So of course, without Jerry the King Lawler, you just don't have Monday Night Raw. You don't, and they just try to make it so empathetic and robotic with the amount of plugging over consciousness to call only like 10 moves that they understand in the ring, and not bringing any semblance of reactions that real people actually get, and have a sense of humor and a personality. And who just doesn't show respect to Jerry King Lawler? You don't. It's Jerry King Lawler. He's literally one of the funnest parts of the commentary table and one of the most memorable people. Like, whenever you hear of Monday Night Raw's commentary, it's Jerry the King Lawler, and who's at number one? It's obviously going to be Jim Ross. I just wanted to tease it because obviously they're one of the reasons why I like watching Monday Night Raw from like 2000, like 2005, 2000. Like, they stopped being a commentary team like 2008 during the draft. Like, I did not know you can trade commentators. What the hell? I mean, if that was possible, I would try to put Vic Joseph and Tom Phillips in a noose. So, and as soon as that's done, we're just going to electrify Michael Cole. But number two is Jerry King Lawler. Number one is obviously Jim Ross. Most quotes, the most respected in the business. Incredibly intelligent over his commentary. Great play-by-play. Amazing reactionary moments he has on commentary, and who else doesn't know Jerry the King Lawler without his hat, without sometimes wearing the sweater, the hair, the cerebral palsy. I mean, minus the cerebral palsy, you just can't have any sort of wrestling show feel a bit, authentic without Jim Ross. And I like the combo with him and Tony Schiavone. I just wish that like Jim Ross had more, enthusiasm, semblance in his commentary, because I feel that's missing. Even though all the flip kicks and nothing going on AEW most of the time, crazy stuff does happen. I just felt like it just felt a bit forced whenever it's like, oh my god, he gave him a uranagi on thumbtacks. It's like, I understand it's been 20 years since he does stuff like that, but it's like it could bring more authenticity and more excitement into a new wrestling show like Dynamite, and it can build up a lot more viewers because you need to make sure that always an episode or a pay-per-view sounds must watch. And back in the day, any crazy stuff happened, Jim Ross is just there to react to it. But yeah, this is practically my top five list. I want to make this do a bit something different. This was my favorite, let alone favorite. It's my favorite. I'm gonna keep that as a constant reminder, because I didn't say the best. Because he will be like, Maranello should be there. Mamma Mia, Finn Balor matches. I understand that Maranello has his talents in the commentary and in boxing and UFC. His skills could be well assembled there. It's tough what happened to his family and why he's not in the WWE anymore. But other than that, he's just not my favorite. I can understand, I respect the enthusiasm. He has the most like energy when it comes to showing a big match. But other than that, he has corny references over the popular songs. His shouting gets annoying when it comes to minute moves. And other than that, I just don't like him. And he seems sensitive to nearly anything. Even constant like the historic Ripper out of JBL. He thought of that as subjugated freaking cyberbullying. It's like I don't want that crap. You're like a grown man. You should be able to take any sort of jokes from your co-workers as such. I mean, unless he's punching you in the face and laughing at you while he's doing it, I don't really care what he does that symbolizes bullying. So yeah, I don't. He's not my favorite. Tough for me to say, but Mauro Ranallo has his abilities and he's a great commentator for that. He's just not one of my favorites. Tough to say, but other than that, this is my list. If you like it, thanks for watching. I'm going to do something different, a bit different for today. But yeah, that's it coming from me.